Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. So I have been getting this question a couple of times, what should we do with the newly purchased succulent? Now guys, I already have a very detailed video. I will put the link in the description below, but if I have to give you a quick tip on that, I would suggest is if your succulents are coming colored, if your succulents are coming stretched, in both cases, whether they are brightly colored, whether they are stretched, I would advise you to still keep them in indirect bright light. Do not expose them to direct sunlight, because always remember the place where you are buying the succulents from is definitely going to differ in terms of environment and climate. So whether the succulent is brightly colored like these as you can see over here, or whether they have been stretched, in both cases always keep them in indirect bright light. Do not expose your newly purchased succulents to direct sunlight, because remember the type of sunlight is going to differ. Probably you might have a much stronger sunlight compared to from where the succulents have come in. You're not very sure where the succulents were placed, so it's advisable not to expose them to direct sunlight in one go. Do a slow introduction, but the best and the safest option is to keep them in indirect bright light at least for a couple of weeks, and let them get adjusted in the new soil, in the new environment, with the new watering conditions. Let them all get adjusted in that, and then slowly start introducing them to morning direct sunlight. Gradual introduction depending upon what kind of succulent you have. Like all three of these succulents would love a good amount of morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours. So I will acclimate these succulents and then put them out in morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours. Even though these succulents are colored, if I have purchased these brightly colored succulents, I cannot put them out in sun directly, because they might get burnt, they might get damaged, they might get dehydrated. A lot of causes, probably they might even get a thermal shock. So you have to be extremely careful. Let them be in indirect bright light as long as you can keep them. It's absolutely fine. Indirect bright light is not going to harm your succulents. A lot of succulents do well in indirect bright light. The only thing is that the colors will start to reduce a little bit, but that's absolutely fine. What is more important is that your succulent should get acclimated and should get healthy in your new environment as soon as possible. So it's always advisable to keep your succulents in indirect bright light when you tend to purchase them newly. Or if your temperatures are very high, do not keep them in direct sunlight. Keep them in a place where they receive a good amount of indirect bright light and it is slightly cooler and there is a good amount of air circulation. Air circulation is also equally important for the newly purchased succulents, because a lot of times they are slightly mushy, the lower leaves are mushy, there's a little bit of water. So we want to keep them in a place where there is a good amount of air circulation. And I've already spoken about this earlier as well. It's very important to quarantine your succulents, especially the ones that you purchase newly. Even though you don't see any mealybugs or any pest attack, it's always better to do a quarantine method, so that if in case something turns up on your succulent, or if there is any mold, fungus, pest, mealybugs, this will not affect your other succulents. So it's very important, keep it in a location where there is a good amount of indirect but really bright light. It's away from your other succulents and there is no direct sunlight, with a good amount of air circulation. This is going to work out really well for your newly purchased succulents to get acclimated. So if you want to know a little bit more in detail about it, I will put the link in the description below. You can check it out. I have made a video on how to care for a recently purchased succulent or succulents that have just come in from transit. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep planting.